Hey everyone, this is Ash and Rima from Mass Effect Odyssey, and today we're going to be doing our top 3 of what we want in the next Mass Effect game. So what we're going to do first of all, we are going to read out the comments we had on the video where we asked for the comments, and we're going to read them out one by one, have a brief discussion on what that particular person wanted, and then right at the end we'll do my list and Rima's list as well, as to what we want in the next game as well. So Rima, you're going to go first.
Yeah, so I'm reading out a comment from Rogue103. So his top 3 wish list was, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So number 3 for him was deeper armor and weapon choices. He felt that he thought there were more choices, that he needs to have more choices along, like, with kind of like what Halo does with head, shoulder, wrist, chest, like individual pieces for the armor rather than just one chest piece, one arm piece. And he believes the weapon should be also kind of like interchangeable, maybe something like Ghost Recon or something, or like Call of Duty, where you can kind of mod the weapons more specifically with camo styles and attachments. He doesn't like reskins, so that's one point he made. Number 2 was a proper inventory. Said that he'd like to see a proper inventory system like Mass Effect 1, but kind of done properly, like having things like loot and drop items that you can kind of maybe find in the game like Skyrim or even Dragon Age. And his number 1 choice was a sci-fi grounded more in reality, saying that he thought that, and now it's a long comment, I'm going to try and kind of comment and kind of make it smaller, but he said that what he liked about Mass Effect 1 was the fact that it had a bit of reality, even though it was about science fiction, and then he felt that as the series went along, it got a little more disconnected, and he kind of comments more about kind of like the sexualization of like the female character, saying that mainly Ashley, she seemed to become less of a soldier and more of like a kind of a sex symbol as she went into the series. So he'd like to see Mass Effect 4 being a lot more realistic. It's being sci-fi, but a lot more realistic. So that's his comment.
That's
So what do you think?
I do like
comments?
Yeah, no, I do like the in terms of the armor, yes, being also a pretty big Halo fan as well, I can agree on the armor types, because you can change like individual pieces. Depends on which game, but you can change individual pieces and like visor color and things like that. So it's just that kind of deeper customization. In terms of the inventory, I never really used the inventory hugely in Mass Effect 1, but I know it was a bit finicky, and I know you had some issues with it. So
I respect his comment. It's a good comment. I don't want to have an inventory at all. I think having an inventory is just sometimes overcomplicated. I don't really mind it in Dragon Age, but I just find that sometimes having an inventory is just too much. Mind you, if they're going to do an exploration kind of thing in Mass Effect 4, if you're going to be exploring different planets, it might be useful to have an inventory, but I just feel like it might just make things a little bit too complicated. I don't know, but it could work. But I personally wouldn't want to see it, but it might be interesting. So yeah, that's good points.
Yeah, I thought it was very good points. Yeah.
So next comment.
Yes, this one is from Stephen Morgan. His third one was, and again I'll do it the same, just 3, 2, 1. Luckily they've all seemed to put it in 3, 2, 1, which made it easier for us to read. So on this one, his third one was some reference to the events of Mass Effect 3. Nothing huge, just a small piece of information you get through dialogue or find out about while exploring. Maybe even a simple codex entry. I think he's maybe, because this is something that's been rumoured, sort of going into the next game, where there's your saves won't so much transfer over to the new game, but like your ending will, essentially. So the universe will be affected as to what your ending was in Mass Effect 3 kind of thing. So I think maybe going towards that, maybe just to say like there's at least a little bit of a carry on from the original trilogy and not completely forgetting about it. Number 2 was better romances, explore the relationships more and have major consequences when you're trying to shack up with more than one person. That's true, actually. There wasn't huge ramifications when you kind of decided to stray in the previous games. So
is that saying you strayed?
Yeah, no. Not at all.
I had some characters being really pissy at me when my character supposedly cheated on somebody else, even though I didn't deem it cheating. I hugged them. Anyway.
And number 1 was your decisions need to be of more significance. Have parts of the game unavailable to certain players because of the choices they made. This would lead to more replayability as players explored other decisions. Prime example was Beyond Two Souls, which had large parts of the game completely closed off from players who made a choice and created different paths through the game. Oh, that's a good one. But
I
I don't
actually
know.
really,
Yeah.
I really like that. I really like that choice. The fact that if your choice actually stops you from doing something, so maybe having choices like maybe way you kind of deal with an alien race may stop you from like visiting their planet or maybe doing something. I think that's really interesting. And it does happen, like, Dragon Age Inquisition, there are some parts in the map you can't access. There are parts of, like, unexplored lands that I haven't been able to play through, even on my third playthrough, because I don't know how to access them, because there's a certain choice that I haven't done on the way. So I like the idea of, like, having, like, things locked off, or things open to you, depending on what choices you make. The one problem is whether they get tied into Paragon and Renegade. If your Renegade choices force you or unlock you to things, or Paragon choices unlock you to things, does that force you to do things that you don't want to do, maybe? But
yeah,
I do like it. I think
it's definitely a good one. So next one was your one.
So is this epic like Mike?
It's different on my screen, but yes, go for that one, because then I can do it.
Well, that's fine. So he's done it 1, 2, 3, but I will read it 3, 2, 1. So his number 3 was Don't Rush It. He thinks that Mass Effect 3 was a good game, but he felt that it was a bit rushed. And he would like it to be a bit more polished, like Mass Effect 2, saying the characters were more developed and he loved them a lot more. He said if it was, he wouldn't mind waiting until 2018 if the game's actually polished, bug-free, and a fantastic video or game. So he would like it just obviously to be a bit more polished. Number 2 is to make the first chapter of the trilogy like the old games, like Mass Effect 2. So I'm assuming he means that he wants the mechanics to kind of be game-changing rather than just kind of being the same again.
Yeah.
So make it like a brand new chapter of the trilogy rather than having it just a continuation of Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
And number 1 is to have a completely fresh start, making only the important choices of the original trilogy as well as the comics to appear. He wants a fresh start. He doesn't want any small choices from the previous games to come down, so he doesn't want to be dragged down because he hasn't played Mass Effect 2 or 3 by choices because he's a PlayStation user. So before he had them, when he was playing the game on the PlayStation, he didn't have the Mass Effect PlayStation trilogy, so he didn't have choices available to him when Mass Effect 3 came out, so he found that it was a bit less enjoyable, which I agree, because I switched from PC to Xbox 360 and it was a bit of a... I couldn't transfer my saves. I was like, oh, crap. So I do agree with him on that one. And that's kind of what the original guy said as well, to have a little bit from the original trilogy, but not have to like drag every single
It doesn't
option.
have to be. It doesn't have to be like a huge thing. Just like you make your last few decisions at the end of the game, just cross over, so that universe is then. It still feels like it's yours, kind of thing. It still feels like your playthrough is continued in some way. So yeah, it's always cool. Next one was Vigilant Eternity. And he's done it 1, 2, 3, but again I'll read it 3, 2, 1. There's a lot of customization stuff, so everyone seems to want a fair bit into the customization. More customization, interactivity of characters, their gear, combat, and the environment. I would love to see something like a crafting system where you can gather resources and/or parts while exploring uncharted worlds. And it would make exploring worlds much more compelling, knowing that just over the next hill there could be raw materials, salvageable scrap, or just a cave opening leading to a fresher moor nest. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah, just searching for things to upgrade your armor and everything, and fresher moor just out of nowhere. But no, yeah, I can see what it means though. Yeah, so it's similar. I keep saying similar to Dragon Age, but that's all we've got to go on at the moment because it's BioWare's most recent release. But yeah, I think you can get like different bits from different areas you go to. You go back to like your main area, craft like better armor, weapons, that kind of thing. So that would be cool. I wouldn't want it to be too complicated or convoluted though. I'd like it to be just somewhat straightforward. So yeah. Second one was a more polished, more feature-rich co-op multiplayer. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was actually one of my favourites of last gen, and if Mass Effect 4's is just more of the same but bigger and better, I know that I'll be saying the same about it. I do have opinions on the multiplayer. I love the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I don't think there's anything wrong with it on the game itself. But moving forward, I would like to see a bit more. If the leak is true, there's obviously things like the strike missions, stuff like that. That sounds cool.
I think it's ready for more co-op based. I know
it's ready
that
to be
obviously
involved.
Strike Mission's a team. Yeah, I feel like that it can be a 4-player thing. I think it can be involve more players, and I also think it can be polished down to like 2-player missions as well.
Yeah.
Maybe like having like doing like specific tasks rather than doing wave upon wave, which I think it could still use the wave upon wave situation that they do in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah,
they can.
definitely.
give more reach and depth to the multiplayer.
You make a good point.
Because they know it works.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, you make a good point on the like the 2-player kind of co-op, like specific missions thing, because Modern Warfare 2 had a very similar thing. I think it's called Spec Ops, I think, and it was just 2 players, and you had to like sneak and like assassinate targets, things like that, and do specific objectives. And it was really good. It was really fun, and it was really annoying when your friend pulls up and then you end up getting eaten by dogs. But yeah, it's a similar thing like that. There was obviously the main multiplayer, then you had like the 4-player kind of wave stuff, and then you had the 2-player kind of Spec Ops stuff, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that, which is why Modern Warfare 2 is one of my favourite Call of Duties, and it's the last Call of Duty I ever played. So yes, it's always a good one. Number 1 was more freeform exploration and more dynamic, varied environments to explore. This is the point I'm actually going to make later on. I actually love the Mako sections with the first Mass Effect, but not so much the actual controls of the vehicle itself. So true. I'd like to see more of that with better controls and more interesting areas. Yeah, that you could barely control it unless you went dead straight.
You would fly into nothing. It was like the gravity on the
moment you decided to turn, you were just like arse end or arse up or something. So it's just like it was wrong in so many ways, those controls. But yeah, some interesting points in terms of the multiplayer. Definitely some good points there, and the freeform exploration, dynamic, varied environments is something I'll be touching on with my points as well.
I think all these comments about modifying weapons and modifying gear, I think maybe what people like, I think I would rather it be more like Star Wars Old Republic's version of customizing things rather than Dragon Age's customize. I know we're talking just, it's very limited to Bioware stuff we're talking about, but I feel like they're going to go with what they know. They're not going to go with something completely different. Yeah. So I feel like I would rather them go with Star Wars version of customizing things than go to Dragon Age's one, because Dragon Age's one seems completely not right for Mass Effect. I feel like if they did it like in the minor sense that Old Republic does it, I feel like it would work a lot better. Anyway, next comment it is from Clarissa Barnett. Her number 3 was crafting. Again, being able to use minerals that you harvest from planets to craft armor and weapons and make them more customizable, acquiring blueprints, and also saying that to make them more resistant to things like biotic powers, increasing your shield strengths, things like that. Number 2 is a multiplayer similar to Mass Effect 3, playable races, the usual kind, but make the character requirements, I think she's meaning how to get the different characters easier, and not very hard. She's still trying to get a Cabal. Yeah, it's very much by luck what you get on Mass Effect 3's multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
And number 1 for her was to have a Turian squad mate, but not just any Turian. She wanted a female Turian squad mate. And romantimal or not, she thought it has to be a female. And she says that we got Nyreen Candris as a squad mate in the Omega DLC, but obviously she wasn't there permanently, and something happens to her that I don't want to say because it's a spoiler. So she would like a Turian female squad mate. So
I think that's something you mentioned to me a while ago, isn't it? About specifically having a female Turian.
I just think it's weird that Mass Effect 3 they bring up Turian females literally in the last 2 DLC that they had, and they're not in the game anywhere else. Like they had like designs for it, because you can see it in the art book, you can see it in the DLC that they had a design for a female Turian, and they just thought, hey, let's just bring it up in the last 2 DLC. So
Nyreen
I agree with that.
Cool as well.
Nyreen was cool.
Such a character. But yeah.
But any Turian that comes along is just going to pale in comparison to Gareth. So I think they're going to have to do a Turian. I feel if they're going to do a Turian, make the Turian super badass, but make the Turian like quite regimented. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So I wouldn't go on wit. I think trying to make the Turian witty will kind of step on Garrus's toe. Yeah. I think you need someone like my next favorite Turian, Adrian Victus. Make him like this, like
you like him because of his name.
He's so cool.
It's Victor's name, isn't
it? He's so cool. Okay, but make him kind of like make him or her kind of like this very strong, cool leader that may be kind of restrained. Might be the one that kind of conflicts with the main character as well. Yeah. And I think that's the way to go if you're having a Turian squad mate. But I like those comments; they're very cool.
Yes. Next one on my list, the second to last one is Eva Magnusson, and the top 3 things she wants to see. Hopefully it's a she or a he. I apologise if I've got that wrong. They want to see in the next Mass Effect is awesome visuals, incredible story, and have the choice of being either male or female. All the games had choice of being male or female, didn't they?
Yes, anyway, every single one.
Yeah,
Femshep or Broshep.
I'm a femshep in my current Mass Effect 1 run through. So yeah, I think that's something that's always been there anyway. Honourable mention to a cool way to navigate the universe other than a Tonka toy ship moving around the galaxy and terrific space battle. Yeah, no, I can understand that point as well. But I think just going by concept art alone, it's like you're going to have a galaxy map like on you when you go to planets and stuff.
Yeah, and you also get
as
to
well
see,
as
like,
maybe have one on the ship, which that'd be cool.
And the galaxy map, yeah, the galaxy map on the ship seems like it's more like a 3D map that you can kind of walk into, kind of thing. It looks like it's very much coming in at you. But I kind of like, before we start recording, I did say that I would like the exploration of the universe to kind of, yeah, it's cool. Like the galaxy map when you're like moving your ship around makes it a lot easier. But I would like to actually be able to kind of see the environment in a more 3D scale rather than the scale they gave you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like astronomy that I would like to have actually seen in a visual way rather than just as a picture. So I think it can be done, but it depends on how much they're kind of wanting to emphasize on that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Okay, so last comment is from TJ of Vienna, and he's saying that he's open to all types of story and gameplay, so he's really just hoping for quite a few customization options. But his number 3 option, or top 3, is to armor to look more ragtag. He would like kind of have like more like a wetsuit kind of thing, or like a t-shirt armor, and then kind of have more things built on, a little bit less uniformity, and a little bit less like a uniform and more like kind of like makeshift armor. I'm guessing he kind of means more like, you know, like Star Wars Boba Fett armor, where it kind of looks like it's kind of been like
weathered,
built up over years. Yeah. Number 2 for him is tattoos. He's just written tattoos. It's time, and he's kind of right. They've never had like, it's
like personalization of your character essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. And number 1 is a face scan like GTA. He thinks it would probably work. I actually didn't realise, and I don't think you did either, that there's face scan in GTA.
No.
Is there?
No idea.
We don't play GTA on next gen, so we don't know. But if there is, let us know in the comments. But
yeah,
I personally don't want to see face scan ever come ever.
I've seen the atrocities in the NBA games that have come from that. They're funny, but they're scary at the same time.
I just don't think technology is, well, there is technology ready for it, but I just think that maybe for now.
I remember FIFA has it, and they had it. When did I do it? Because there's one where you took a picture like on your phone of like the two sides of your head and the front of your head. You'd send it to the website. They would uniform it onto the thing, and then it would go onto the player. The weird thing is, it actually worked very well.
You know,
and I've done that, and I had a player that looked like
me. When I think of face scan, I think of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
And the multiplayer, and the thing doesn't work,
yeah.
And everyone has like the weird like no hair face, and it like removes your like scalp.
Yeah.
If it works, cool. But I think that I don't think it needs face scan, but if it does work, if there's an ability to put it in, that's fair enough. But I don't think they're going to put face scan.
I don't think we'll be putting our mugs into the.
No, I think I'm quite happy to keep it customizable. So are we going to do our top 3?
Yes, I will let you go first on that one.
Okay, so number 3 for me was amazing music, and I've written amazing music comparable to the music in the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite parts of the trilogy is the music that's come from it. I listen to it like every day basically now.
Yeah, same here.
Mainly when I'm doing like work or art and stuff, so I want music that's as good as it was in the trilogy, if not better, but I don't think it can get better, so I'm quite happy it was as good. Number 2 for me is kind of the same comment I think as Steven said in there, a bit more exploration in the relationships between the crew and the main characters, including more complex relationships, romances, and even friendships. Even allowing you to have a little bit more conflict with characters a little bit. I know you can have them in Mass Effect 3 a little bit more, like and in Mass Effect 2 where some characters don't want to talk to you, or some characters you can kind of end up killing them in Mass Effect 3, but I want to have a little bit more like conflict and more friendship and a little bit more complex relationships. They have an awesome base to start off on, but I think it needs to kind of be more developed. And number 1 for me was further, and I've written further and more detailed customization of the character's face model, and specifically I want more hair options, please. Please, oh please, oh please. Please, oh please. Even Dragon Age didn't even have that many. Please give me more hair options.
That's very true.
I would rather have more than just 6 or 5, even if you give me the option to like shorten and like lengthen the hair, or like at least like make it like, I don't know, you can have the same like base, but kind of like customizing the hair a little bit more, like you would like the eyes. I just think that just doing it that way just gives you a little bit more depth to kind of make the character more of your own. I would have said an amazing story, but I know an amazing story is going to come because it's Bioware, so I didn't put that on my list.
we're pretty confident that going by the last 3 games, the next game, or maybe the next 3 games, fingers crossed, that the story is going to be pretty damn mind blowing. So we're pretty confident in that, I think. So there's some good ones there. Yeah.
Sure,
the music one specifically, because I didn't even think of about that one. But yeah, no, I listen to at least a couple of songs from the Mass Effect 3 soundtrack every day. So, but yeah, my 3. My third one, my number 3 is going to be fairly quick because everyone else has said it. More in-depth customization, essentially, just like being able to kind of have a lot more freedom to do what you want and how you want to do it with your armor and guns and things like that. So yeah. Number 2 is one of the points that was pointed out by one of the comments. I can't remember exactly which one now. Apologies. It's more fleshed out planets, and I basically put, unlike Mass Effect 1 where all planets you could explore looked exactly the same, so I'm looking for like, they don't all have to be like smack in the face individual, so I'm like in awe on every single one, but just something that's better than Mass Effect 1 where they don't all look the same. They don't look all like dusty and abandoned and yeah,
they're all just like flat dead moons basically,
essentially. Yeah, so I would like a fair bit more customization for the planets by the developers. So, and the first one for me was a co-op in the main campaign.
Oh man, I would love co-op because we played the entire Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 together via Skype.
Yes, and we're playing our own individual single-player run-throughs, and it worked. But the amount of times we could have actually done with each other in our games would have been nice. So they are saying that there's going to be an online component to Mass Effect, the next one. Obviously, we assume there's going to be some form of multiplayer anyway. But yeah, co-op in the main campaign, so where a friend can just jump in on you on your normal main story campaign and help you out, and Halo does it perfectly well.
Maybe even
Halo,
like
you can do it all 4 games. You can play through all of them on co-op. So,
well, even like kind of like though I hate the game with a vengeance just because it doesn't work for co-op because it breaks. Like Dead Space 3's co-op didn't feel shoot in. Like it felt like it was perfectly...
No, when it worked, it felt good.
It didn't connect. Let's hope that EA, if they just
you got about 40 minutes and then it just died. Yeah.
It doesn't break my Xbox or tries to break my Xbox, but like the way the story was written was actually really well done. So even a co-op that way for a couple missions, does not need to be a full way through because I don't think Mass Effect 3 needs a co-op the entire way through, but even a couple select missions where maybe like you're going to a planet, you need to do a mission, hey, you might need a friend, you can invite a friend to join you or something.
I think in terms of only having it for a couple of missions, I think the developers were like, well, we're only doing it for a couple of missions in the main campaign, why not do it for the whole thing? Because it seems like if we're going to kind of half-ass it, then why not just do the whole thing? So.
It's just Mass Effect, one of these very solo. It's like Skyrim. It's one of these very solo experiences.
That's true. No, but that's why the ones obviously you can play it on your own and like play a playthrough like with someone else as well. Whereas that's exactly like Halo. I can play all 4 games that are currently released, all 4 of them through on my own, absolutely fine. But at the same time, somebody wants to jump in with me and play through the whole game as well. So
basically, the person who'd be playing with you wouldn't be assuming a character role. They'd just be
not at all. They'd just be an extra character in my playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in Mass Effect, in Halo 3, if I was the main player, if I was player 1, I'd be Master Chief, but the co-op player would be the Arbiter, and he would play through as the Arbiter for the whole game.
So they would maybe either assume a secondary character or
Halo,
they'd just be like a nameless soldier or something.
Yeah, in Halo 1 there was like 2 Master Chiefs. So yeah, one of them's Master Chief, one of them's just like a nameless soldier. But yeah, no, that's it. So it's like drop in, drop out kind of thing. So I'm gonna say this, I think. No, okay, carry on.
Okay. So we're at the end of our
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. I tried to hold it and I really did.
Well, you
Sorry.
Before we lose our minds. Right, okay.
So that was it for me.
Yes, tell us what you think about our top 3 in the comments. Let us know if you agree with them, if you disagree with them, and if anyone hasn't commented on their top 3s, please let us know in the comments and let us know what your top 3s are. And share this video to support us, and subscribe as well if you haven't done so already.
And that's it.
That's it.
So
we'll see you in the next video.
Exactly, yeah, and obviously thanks for the comments as well. I know it's been a while since you all actually commented, so we apologise for leaving it a bit longer than planned. But yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching, and we'll catch you again next time.